Hello and welcome to the demo video for the fuel consumption spreadsheet. This one's for multiple vehicles. I've done a few of these. There's one that I did for the mobile, which is at the time of making this video, I haven't actually released it yet. And there's one that's in the basic range, which is for a single vehicle. But this one is for multiple vehicles, in fact, up to 100 vehicles. So I just want to show you how it works. It's very similar to the others, quite easy to use. It just requires the correct information. So the fuel brands you can set up first. These are different brands of fuel. I've just put some examples in here. You can put 9 of whatever you want in there, and the 10th would just be other. If you don't put any in there, if you don't want to do that, you don't want to monitor cross brands, you can leave all of those blank. It'll just give you other and just select other for all of them. That's not an issue if you don't want to use it, but it would. Most people want to know what's the fuel consumption from that brand, this brand, to see if there's any benefit to filling up with a particular brand. Once you've done that, you can move across. There are two red tabs on this one, the fuel intake and the vehicles. So the vehicles is where you set up your vehicle. You can put the make, the model. I've actually spelled that incorrectly. It doesn't matter. You can put the make, the model, and then you can put the registration. It doesn't, this isn't doing anything on the spreadsheet. It's really just for your reference. I mean, it's not going anywhere or doing anything per se. The column that it is using is the unique vehicle name. So I've just put in gray car, blue car, red car, green car as like a description here, but you can put the registration plate number in there, or you can put the make and the model, or you can put the person who drives the car, or whatever you want to put in here. The only thing is you can't put the same thing in twice, flags up in red. So you need to just put unique names in here. So the registration is possibly what most would use, but it's up to you. And then you just can select what distance of you, what unit of distance you're using, kilometers or miles. Now, sorry, miles, yeah, miles or kilometers. I've done this. I know in the UK where this is probably going to be sold mostly, it doesn't. Then most of them are going to be miles. But I just thought someone might have a car that's measured in kilometers, or it's got a whatever. What this distance, this unit of distance is effectively saying is what is on the odometer of the vehicle. That's what you want to select here, because that's what you're going to be filling in each time you go and get fuel. So you want to be able to put in what the odometer reading is in miles or kilometers. This bit here, leave this blank. Don't worry about that when you start off. I'll show you how that works when we get to later on in the video. And then this will all be calculated. So that's all you fill in for each vehicle, are those 5 columns. And then each time you actually go and fill and get fuel, you just come to the bottom of this list. It's got 2 weeks worth of dates. You can select today's date or work back 2 weeks, or you can just type the date in. Select which vehicle it is. That will be the list from your vehicles list. Select the brand. If you've done brand, otherwise just select other. Did not fill, better fuel quality. I'll come back to that in a minute. There's your odometer reading, so you can put the current reading in when you fill up, how many liters you're putting in, and what the cost is. These 2 columns, if you do not fill your tank, then select that. So at the moment, I've said all of these tanks were full tanks, but if you do not fill your tank, select that. The reason being is because you have to monitor this fuel consumption from full tank to full tank. If you actually have a full tank, drive a whole bunch, and then go and put £5 in, it thinks that you've driven all of that mileage on £5 worth of fuel, which is not right, and it messes up all your figures. So this is just a way to go, no, I didn't fill the tank. If you don't fill the tank, tick that off, because all it does is it doesn't give you this row's worth of information. Here, these ones are great because I haven't actually filled up again, so it doesn't know what fuel consumption I did on that particular journey, on this particular tank. So this data will populate when I add a new one in for each of these vehicles. But if you do say that you didn't fill the tank, it won't calculate that one, and it won't calculate the next one, because those two will be corrupt. So it'll only go from full tank to full tank. It does use the data from the part tanks later on. When you do fill your tank up, in the overall data, it will use it, because it then includes all those part fills in in one thing. But when it comes to the individual tank data, it won't calculate. And then I've got this one for better fuel quality. As you know, when you go to the fuel station where you're getting diesel or petrol, you've got the normal or you've got the supreme. So what I've done is I've just got a tick box here. So it's what they, because all the different brands have different names for it. But if you get the superior quality fuel, then just tick this. It does give you a detailed report later on based on the different fuel types. And that's it. Here to add vehicles, here each time you fill up a fuel, that's all you need to do. And at any time you can come to dashboard, you can see your overall figures. It goes from miles per liter, miles per gallon, kilometers per liter. It's got all the different formats. Here you've got a list of issues. If you have a look here, if you see red or yellow alerts popping up here, then there's incorrect or missing data on the other tabs. Here you got a breakdown per quality. So there you can see green is the supreme and blue is the normal. Here you can see the number of liters that you're filling up each week based on normal or supreme. Here you can see a breakdown of all your different miles per liter, cost per miles across your fuel bands and your fuel brands and how much of each you're using. So you can see whether the fuel that you're using the most is actually the most cost effective. This report over here is almost exactly the same, but what it is you can come and actually select one of your vehicles and it does you the same report largely for that particular vehicle. The only difference is on your dashboard where you've got these breakdowns per week. What you have now, and this one is your last fuel intake. So you can see your last fuel intakes compared to the overall average as to how your vehicle's been doing recently. Now, what happens when you get the fuel intake, when you get right down to the bottom, because there's 5,000 rows here, and if you've got loads of vehicles, you're going to eventually fill that up. What do you do then? Well, very simply put, what you do then is that's when you use those other columns that I showed you about. So what you would do is you'd come to your vehicles. Before you clear any data, you'll come to your vehicles and you'll copy this data over here for the vehicles, right click copy, and you'll come into here in the starting balance and you'll say right click paste values. Not normal paste, that'll paste the formulas and lock the cells and corrupt things. You want to always use paste values. So when you paste values, what that means is you're just pasting the numbers that are in here into these cells. And then what you can do is you can actually once you've pasted the values into there, you can then actually come to the fuel intake. And what will happen then is the safe to clear will get a whole bunch of X's in the rows that are safe to clear. So you can do the same thing here, copy and paste values. You can come down all the data, you'll go right down to wherever you end, copy, come back up the top in the sorter column, paste values. And what this will do is this will have a bunch of X's in here, and then you say sort Z to A, and it'll bring all the X's together. And what the X means is that it's safe to actually clear that data. And then you can then select all of this with all the X's, right click, clear contents. And once you've cleared that out, you can resort by date order again, and it'll put them all back into date order. And then you can start again. That will clear out all of this data. So it'll reset a lot of the data in the spreadsheet. But what it will keep is because you've done this bit here over here, and because you've pasted those values into there, and you now have that kind of opening balance, as it were, then what will happen is when you go to your vehicle report, these overall figures for the life of the vehicle will be more accurate because they'll include the old data. This over here will reset, this will reset, this will reset, and you'll start again because it doesn't have this data to work with. But these average figures for the vehicle over time will be able to keep let's just say they'll be more accurate because they'll have a longer data set because you've got this in here. If you don't want to do that and you just want to start a new spreadsheet and go, well, yeah, let's forget old data, let's just start again and start a new spreadsheet. You can do that. Then you don't have to worry about these columns. But as I said, if you do use those ones to actually clear out this data is no longer necessary, it will mean far more accurate reporting as far as overall numbers are concerned. So I hope that that makes sense. I hope that that's understandable and that helps you. If you've got up to 100 vehicles and you want to track fuel consumption, then this is probably the simplest way to go about it. And yeah, wish you all the best with that. Thank you very much and goodbye.